Hello everyone, this is Refresh and I'm here to bring you a battle between the Game Night 2019 decks and the Face the Hydra challenge deck from Theros. We'll be playing two games against the challenge deck, and for these battles we'll be using two hero cards. The first one is the Harvester, which says tap, draw a card, then discard a card, and the Warrior, which says tap, target creature you control gains haste until end of turn. Because I only have one copy of each of these cards, we're going to apply these cards simultaneously to all of the decks. We'll play the first game in normal difficulty with 3 Hydra heads, and then we'll be back for hard mode with 4 Hydra heads. We'll start by drawing 7 cards apiece. Red draws a Goblin Smuggler, Mountain, Lapis, Dragon Queen, Pack Mastiff, Mountain, Mountain, and Mountain. It's not a great hand, but we have a 2-drop and a 3-drop, and hopefully we'll be able to get into Lapis, Dragon Queen soon enough. Black draws a Swamp, Tattered Mummy, Swamp, Torgar, Famine Incarnate, Gravedigger, Swamp, and Swamp. Like with red, this isn't a great hand, but we have some cards here, and so we will keep it. Blue has Winged Words, Island, 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 Dramatic Reversal, and Claustrophobia. This is actually a pretty bad hand, and I think we're going to return this and use our free mulligan because this is multiplayer. Blue draws Island, Warden of Evil's Isle, Salvager of Secrets, Island, Moat Piranhas, Island, and Cryptic Servant. This is not a great hand, but it has more action than the previous one, so we will keep it. White draws Plains, Loxodon Life Chanter, Inspiring Captain, Fiendbinder, Zetalpa Primal Dawn, Patron of the Valiant, and Plains. This is a terribly fat curve with only 2 lands, so we're going to return this and use our free mulligan. White draws a Loxodon Life Chanter, Raise the Alarm, Token Freeblade, Raise the Alarm, Plains, Zetalpa, Primal Dawn, and Consul's Lieutenant. There's only 1 land, so we can't keep this. We'll mulligan down to 6. Now we have a Patron of the Valiant, Token Freeblade, Plains, Token Freeblade, Raise the Alarm, Plains, and Squad Captain. I think this is a keepable hand, so we will do so, and we will get rid of Patron of the Valiant and put it on the bottom of the deck. Green draws Thunderherd Migration, Forest, Forest, Voracious Hydra, Forest, Forest, and Howling Giant. This is a bit of a slow hand. We have a slow ramp spell and no dinosaur to use it with, so we're gonna mulligan this and use our free mulligan. Green draws a Forest, a Spidery Grasp, Thunderherd Migration, Thundering Spinebeck, Ranging Raptors, and Spidery Grasp. This is not a very good hand because the Spidery Grasps aren't very helpful, but because we have this Thunderherd Migration and we have dinosaurs that we can use to use it for ramp, I think we're going to keep it and hopefully be able to get into what we actually need to get anywhere with this deck. Because this is multiplayer, we'll each draw a card on the first turn. Red draws a Mountain, Black draws a Swamp, Blue draws an Island, White draws a Plains, Green draws a Silverback Shaman, Red will play a Mountain, Black will play a Swamp, Blue will play an Island, White will play a Plains, Green will play a Forest. Then we'll pass to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. This is Turn Between Heads. It's a sorcery. It says tap up to 2 heads. They don't untap during the Hydra's next untap step. Turn Between Heads deals 5 damage to each player. We'll tap these 2 heads, and then we will take 5 plus 1, so 6 damage to each player, going down to 14 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester and we'll loot. Red draws a Mountain and promptly discards a Mountain. Black draws a Swamp and discards a Swamp. Blue draws an Island and discards the Moat Piranhas. White draws a Consul's Lieutenant and discards Raise the Alarm. Green draws an Overcome and discards a Spidery Grasp. We untap, we go to draw. Red draws a Dragon Egg, Black draws a Swamp, Blue draws an Island, White draws a Plains, Green draws a Forest. Red will play a Mountain. We'll tap both mountains and play the Pack Mastiff. This is a 2/2 Hound, and for 1 in a red, each creature you control named Pack Mastiff gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Black plays a Swamp. We'll tap both Swamps and play the Tattered Mummy. This is a 1/2 Zombie Jackal. When Tattered Mummy dies, each opponent loses 2 life. Blue plays an Island. White plays a Plains. We'll tap both Plains and play Consul's Lieutenant. This is a 2/1 Human Soldier with First Strike, round 1, and whenever Consul's Lieutenant attacks, if it's a renown, other attack creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Green will play a forest, will tap both forests and play Thunderherd Migration. This is a sorcery. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, reveal a dinosaur card from your hand or pay 1. Will reveal the Ranging Raptors. And then search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. Here's a basic forest. We'll put it on the battlefield tapped and we'll shuffle. We'll tap the warrior to give all of the just cast creatures haste. We'll attack with the Tattered Mummy into the Standing Hydra Head. White will attack with the Consul's Lieutenant into the Standing Hydra Head. This deals 3 damage to the Hydra Head. That will kill the head. Each player will gain 2 life to go up to 16 each. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are 2 new heads, a Snapping Fang Head and a Shrieking Titan Head. The Snapping Fang Head is a 0/8 elite head. At the beginning of the Hydra's end step, Snapping Fang Head deals 1 damage to each player. And the Shrieking Titan Head is a 0/8 elite head. At the beginning of the Hydra's end step, each player discards a card. Both have the Hero's Reward, which says when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 4 life and draws a card. The Consul's Lieutenant will get renowned for dealing damage to the enemy. It becomes a 3/2 first strike. Then we'll pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. That is a Hydra Head. And now we'll go to the Hydra's end step. It will do a total of 6 damage to each player, taking them down to 10, and each player will discard a card as well. Red discards the Dragon Egg. Black discards a Swamp. Blue discards an island. White discards a squad captain. Green discards a spidery grasp. At the end of the turn, we'll use the harvester. Red draws a mountain and we'll discard a mountain. Black draws an undead servant and we will discard the undead servant. Blue draws a winged word and we'll discard an island. White draws a plains, we'll discard the plains. Green draws a growth cycle and we'll discard the growth cycle. We'll untap. Red draws a mountain. Black draws a sanitarium skeleton. Blue draws an island. White draws plains. Green draws a howling giant. Red plays the mountain, taps all the mountains, and plays the goblin smuggler. This is a 2/2 goblin rogue with haste, and you can tap it. Another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. Black plays a swamp, taps the swamp, and plays a sanitarium skeleton. This is a 1/2 skeleton, and for 2 and black, return sanitarium skeleton from your graveyard to your hand. Blue plays an island, taps all the islands, and plays Warden of Evil's Isle. This is a 2/2 bird wizard with flying. Creatures with flying you cast cost 1 less to cast. White plays a plains, taps both plains, and plays Top and Freeblade. This is a 2/2 human soldier with vigilance and renowned 1. Green plays a forest, taps 3 forests, and plays Ranging Raptors. This is a 2/3 dinosaur with enrage. Whenever Ranging Raptors is dealt damage, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle your library. We'll use the warrior this turn to give every new creature haste, and then we'll attack. Red will attack the Shrieking Titan Head with the Pack Mastiff and the Goblin Smuggler. Black will join in that same attack with both their creatures. Blue will join in that same attack with the Warden of the Evil's Isle. White will attack the Snapping Fang Head with the Consul's Lieutenant and Top and Freeblade. This will trigger the Consul's Lieutenant to give the Top and Freeblade +1/+1, making them both 3 power. Ranging Raptors will join that attack to take out the Snapping Fang Head. This will kill both of the elite heads. Each of the players will draw 2 cards and gain 8 life apiece to go to 18 each. Red draws an Akuam Hellkite and a Lightning Strike. Black draws a Swamp and a Accursed Horde. Blue draws a Cryptic Serpent and a Dungeon Geists. White draws a Plains and a Take Vengeance. Green draws a Forest and an Earthshaker Giant. We'll reveal 4 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads. Then we'll pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. This is grown from the stump. Put exactly 2 cards named Hydra Head onto the battlefield from the Hydra's graveyard. There's only 1 Hydra Head in the Hydra's graveyard. If you can't reveal cards on the top of the Hydra's library until you reveal the head card, put that card onto the battlefield and the rest into the Hydra's graveyard. We will put a Ravenous Brute Head onto the battlefield. This is a 0/6 elite head, and the Hero's Reward says when it leaves the battlefield, each player gains 2 life and draws a card. We'll each take 3 damage, taking us all to 15 apiece. And then at the end of the Hydra's turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a mountain, we'll discard a mountain. Black draws an Undead Servant, we'll discard a swamp. Blue draws a Howling Golem. We'll discard the Salvager of Secrets. White draws a Plains. We'll discard the Plains. Green draws a Grazing Whiptail, and we will discard the Overcome. We'll untap. We'll draw. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws a Swamp. Blue draws a Decision Paralysis. White draws a High Cliff Felidar. Green draws a Thundering Spineback. I just realized that those two Hydra heads should have untapped last turn, so we'll untap them and take 2 damage each, taking us down to 13 apiece. Red will play a Mountain. Black plays a Swamp. We'll tap all the mana. And then we'll play the Undead Servant. This is a 3/2 zombie. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token for each card named Undead Servant in your graveyard. There's 1, so we'll make 1 2/2. Blue will play an island, and then we will tap 3 and play the Howling Golem. This is a 2/3 artifact golem. When it attacks or blocks, each player draws a card. White will play the Plains. We'll tap 2 Plains, and we'll play the Token Freeblade. This Token Freeblade should get a +1/+1 counter for its renown. Green will play a Forest. We'll tap all the lands. We'll play a Silverback Shaman. This is a 5/4 Ape Shaman with Trample. When it dies, draw a card. We'll tap the Warrior to give each new creature, except for the 2/2 zombie token, haste. We'll attack one of the Hydra heads with the Goblin Smuggler. We'll have the Sanitarium Skeleton join to kill that Hydra head off. We'll attack another Hydra head with the Howling Golem. The Tattered Mummy will join to kill that Hydra head off. We'll attack the final Hydra head with the Consul's Lieutenant, and then we'll attack the Ravenous Brute head with Token Freeblades, and they'll get +1/+1 each because of the Consul's Lieutenant, taking them up to 7 damage total. On the Howling Golem's attack, each player will draw a card. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws a Swamp. Blue draws a River's Rebuke. White draws a Pacifism. Green draws a Forest. This will kill every Hydra head, getting us a total of 8 life apiece, and then drawing each player a card. That will take us each to 21. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws an Undead Servant. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Kithion's Irregulars. Green draws a Forest. We'll reveal 8 cards to see if there are any new heads. There is a Ravenous Brute head, a Ravenous Brute head, and a Hydra head. Red will spend 2 mana to cast Lightning Strike, targeting the final Hydra head. It dies, and each player gains 2 life to go up to 23. This Token Freeblade should also be renowned. At the end of the turn, we need to discard down. We will discard Decision Paralysis. We'll go to the Hydra's turn. They'll cast the topmost card. This is Torn Between Heads. Tap up to 2 heads. They don't untap during the Hydra's next untap step. Torn Between Heads deals 5 damage to each player. We'll tap the Ravenous Brute heads. We'll take 5 damage apiece to go to 18 each. At the end of the turn, we will use the Harvester. Red draws a Spark Tongue Dragon. We'll discard a Mountain. Black draws a Gorging Vulture. We will discard a Swamp. Blue draws an Island. We'll discard an Island. White draws a Mighty Leap. We'll discard Pacifism. Green draws Leaf Kindred. We'll discard Leaf Kindred. We'll untap. Red draws a Tectonic Rift. Black draws a Swamp. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Plains. Green draws a Forest. Red will play the Mountain. We'll tap out and cast the Spark Tongue Dragon. This is a 3/3 dragon with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 and a red. We can't. When you do, it deals 3 damage to any target, but that won't matter right now. Black will play a Swamp. We'll tap 4 mana, and then sacrifice the Undead Servant and the Sanitarium Skeleton to cast Torgar Famine Incarnate. This is a 7/6 legendary avatar. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each sacrificed creature. For each creature sacrificed this way, when it enters the battlefield, up to 1 target player's life total becomes half their starting life total rounded down. We'll ignore that effect. Blue will play an Island, and then blue will tap 4 mana and play the Dungeon Geists. This is a 3/3 spirit with flying. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step, or as long as you control Dungeon Geist. We'll target one of those Ravenous Brute heads. White will play a Plains. We'll tap 4 Plains, and then play Kithion's Irregulars. This is a 4/3 human soldier with renown 1, and you can pay white to tap target creature. Green will play a Forest. we'll tap out everything. And then we'll play the Earthshaker Giant. This is a 6/6 giant druid with trample. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +3/+3 and trample until end of turn. We'll use the warrior to give each new creature haste. We'll attack with the Howling Golem into one of the Ravenous Broodheads. Kythian's Irregulars will join that. And then we'll attack the 2 Toppling Foodblades into the other Ravenous Broodhead. This kills both Ravenous Broodheads. Each player will gain 4 life and draw 2 cards apiece, taking them up to 22. Red draws a Ripskill Predator and a Goblin Smuggler. Black draws a Swamp and a Liliana's Mastery. Blue draws an Island and a Cloudkin Seer. White draws a Plains and a Release Captain. Green draws a Forest and a Forest. The Howling Golem also triggers a card draw, so red will draw a Dragon Egg. Black draws a Grasp of Darkness. Blue draws a Brineborn Cutthroat. White draws a Steppe Glider. Green draws a Ranging Raptors. We'll reveal 4 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads, and so the Game Night 2019 decks defeat the Hydra on normal difficulty. We'll be right back for hard mode. Alright, it's time for hard mode. We have 4 Hydra heads assembled on the battlefield. We'll draw 7 cards apiece. Red draws a Howling Golem, Mountain, Ripskill Predator, Mountain, a Klum Hellkite, Mountain, and Dragon Egg. This isn't a great hand, but I think with the Howling Golem, we'll be able to eventually get there. Black draws a Swamp, Bone Splinters, Blood for Bones, Villas, Crow of Dark Tidings, Undead Servant, and Swamp. We're going to keep this hand with the hope of drawing more lands. Blue draws an Air Elemental, Island, 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 Dramatic Reversal, and Howling Golem. This is not a very good hand, but we have the Howling Golem, we have the Air Elemental, and some islands. I think we're going to try it with hopes of looting it better. White draws a Plains, Steppe Glider, Plains, Inspiring Captain, Plains, Inspiring Captain, Plains. This is a bit too slow of a hand with Inspiring Captains at the top, so we're going to mulligan this for using our free mulligan. White now draws a Squad Captain, Plains, Plains, locks it on Life Chapter, Plains, Pacifism, and Patron of the Valiant. This is also a pretty bad hand because it does nothing for pretty much the entire game, and so we're going to mulligan this as well, going down to 6. White draws a Plains, Squad Captain, Mighty Leap, Steadfast Sentry, Plains, and Patron of the Valiant. This is a bit more capable land. We're really needing an additional land, but there are at least 3 drops here. We'll take the Mighty Leap and stick it on the bottom. Green draws Forest, Overcome, Thunderherd Migration 4, Silverback Shaman, and Thundering Spineback. I know we don't have a lot of lands here, but the Thunderherd Migrations plus the Thundering Spineback let us get ramped, hopefully more quickly, to the Silverback Shaman, so we're going to keep this hand. Because this is multiplayer, we draw a card on turn 1. Red draws a Tectonic Rift. Black draws a Grasp of Darkness. Blue draws an Unsummon. White draws a Plains. Green draws a Forest. Red plays a Mountain. Black plays a Swamp. Blue plays an Island. White plays a Plains. Green plays a Forest. We'll go to the Hydra's turn. They'll cast the topmost card, which is Disorienting Glower. It's a sorcery. Players can't cast spells until the Hydra's next turn. We're going to leave that on top of the deck to remind me not to cast any spells. And then we'll take 4 damage apiece, taking us all to 16. At the end of the turn, we'll loot using the Harvester. Red draws a Lightning Strike. We'll discard the Tectonic Rift. Black draws Lord of the Cursed. We'll discard Villas, Broker of Blood. Blue draws a Cloudkin Seer. We'll discard Dramatic Reversal. White draws a Plains. We'll discard the Squad Captain. Green draws a Forest. We'll discard an Overcome. We'll untap. We'll draw. Red draws a Spark-Tongue Dragon. Black draws a Carrion Screecher. Blue draws a Salvager of Secrets. White draws a Topin Freeblade. Green draws a Leafkin Druid. Red will play a Mountain. Black will play a Swamp. Blue will play an Island. White will play a Plains. Green will play a Forest. Because we can't cast spells, we'll go to the Hydra's turn. The Hydra will cast the topmost card, which is a Ravenous Broodhead. It is now the Hydra's next turn, so we can cast spells. Red will tap both mountains and cast Lightning Strike, targeting the Ravenous Broodhead to deal it 3 damage. Black will tap both swamps to play Grasp of Darkness, also targeting the Ravenous Broodhead. It's an instant. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn. The Ravenous Broodhead dies. Each player will gain 2 life to go up to 18, but they'll lose 4 life from the Hydra head to go down to 14, and each player will draw a card. Red draws a mountain, black draws a swamp, blue draws a decision paralysis, white draws plains, green draws a growth cycle. We'll reveal 2 more cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads. Then at the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Pack Mastiff, and we will discard the Dragon Egg. Black draws an Undead Servant, and we'll discard the Bone Splinters. Blue will draw a River's Rebuke, and we will discard the Decision Paralysis. White draws a Zetopla Pramaldon, and we'll discard Zetopla Pramaldon. Green draws a Raging Raptors, and we will discard the Growth Cycle. We'll untap. We'll draw. Red draws a mountain. Black draws a swamp. Blue draws an island. White draws a plains. Green draws a crested herd collar. Red will play the mountain. We'll tap the mountains and play a Howling Golem. Black will play a swamp. We'll tap the swamps. And we'll play Crow of Dark Tidings. This is a 2/2 zombie bird with flying. When it enters the battlefield or dies, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. We put an Accursed Horde and a swamp into the graveyard. Blue plays an island. We'll tap all 3. And then we will play a Howling Golem. White will play a plains. We'll tap 2 of the plains to play the Top and Freeblade. Green will play a forest. We'll tap 2 forests, revealing the Thundering Spinebeck to play Thunderheart Migration. We'll take another forest and put it onto the battlefield tapped. We'll shuffle. We'll tap the warrior to give each of these played creatures haste, and we will attack one of the Hydra heads with the Howling Golem, the same Hydra head with a crow, another Howling head with a Howling Golem, the same Hydra head with the Top and Freeblade. We'll draw 2 cards apiece from the Howling Golems. Red will draw a Pack Mastiff and a mountain. Black will draw a swamp and a Lord of the Accursed. Blue will draw an island and a Mode Piranhas. White will draw a Pacifism and a Plains. Green will draw a Voracious Hydra and a Growth Cycle. We'll kill 2 Hydra heads, gaining 4 life apiece to go up to 18 each. Then we'll reveal 4 cards to see if there are any new heads. There is a Shrieking Titan head and a regular Hydra head. Then we'll pass the turn to the Hydra and we will discard. Red will discard the Spark-Tongued Dragon. Black will discard the Carrion Screecher. Blue will discard the Mode Piranhas and the Salvager of Secrets. White will discard a Pacifism. Green will discard the Growth Cycle and the Leafkin Druid. Then we'll pass to the Hydra. The Hydra will cast the topmost card. This is Hydra's Impenetrable Hide. Each head gains indestructible until the end of the Hydra's next turn, which is bad. Then we'll go to the Hydra's End Step. The Shrieking Titan head will make us all discard a card and we'll take 5 damage from the heads to go to 13 each. Red will discard a mountain. Black will discard an Undead Servant. Blue will discard an island. White will discard a plains. And Tobin Freeblade should get a +1/+1 counter for its renown. Green will discard the Raging Raptors. Then at the end of the turn we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a mountain and discards a mountain. Black draws an Undead Servant, discards the Undead Servant. Blue draws a Mode Piranhas and discards the Mode Piranhas. White draws a Plains and discards the Plains. Green draws an Earthshaker Giant and discards the Silverback Shaman. We'll untap. Red draws a Goblin Smuggler. Black draws a Rise from the Grave. Blue draws a Rise from the Tides. White draws a Pacifism. Green draws a Forest. Red will play the Mountain. We'll tap all the mountains and we'll play 2 Pack Mastiffs. Black will play a Swamp. We'll tap 4 swamps and we'll play the Undead Servant. There are 2 Undead Servants in the graveyard, so we will gain 2 black zombie creature tokens. Blue will play an island. We'll tap 3 mana and play the Cloud Conceer. This is a 2/1 elemental wizard with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. We draw a Cryptic Serpent. White will play a Plains. We'll tap 3 of these Plains and play the Steadfast Sentry. This is a 3/2 human soldier with Vigilance, and when it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Green will play a Forest. We'll tap all of the forests, and we will play the Crested Herd Color. This is a 3/3 dinosaur with Trample, and when it enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with Trample. We'll use the warrior to give the creature with the most power of the new creatures haste. We will attack the Shrieking Titan head with the Howling Golem and the Pack Mastiff. The Shrieking Titan head will also get the Crow of Dark Tidings, while a regular Hydra head will take the Undead Servant. The Shrieking Titan head will be finished off by the Howling Golem, while a regular Hydra head will take the Cloudkin Seer. A regular Hydra head will be finished off by this Steadfast Sentry, while the other regular Hydra head will be finished off by the Token Freeblade. That should destroy every Hydra head assembled for a total of 10 life per player and 1 card each. That takes each player up to 23 life. We'll reveal 8 cards to see if there are any new heads. Here's a Hydra head, a Snapping Fang head, a Hydra head, a Hydra head. We each draw the card from the Shrieking Titan head, as well as 2 additional cards from the Howling Golems for 3 cards apiece. Red draws a Keldon Raider, a Zealot of the God Pharaoh, and a Kargan Dragon Rider. Black draws a Grasp of Darkness, a Swamp, and a Swamp. Blue draws an Island, an Aven Windmage, and an Air Elemental. White draws a Plains, and a Raise the Alarm. Green draws a Ranging Raptors, a Forest, and a Forest. Blue will tap 1 mana and cast Unsummon. It's an instant. It says return target creature to its owner's hand, targeting the Snapping Fang head. This takes the Snapping Fang head out of the picture. Each player will gain 4 life to go up to 27 each, and will draw a card. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads. Red draws a Mountain. Black draws a Tattered Mummy. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Raise the Alarm. Green draws a Grazing Whiptail. At the end of our turn, we'll discard down to 7. We'll discard the Kargan Dragon Rider. Black will discard the Grasp of Darkness and the Tattered Mummy. Blue will discard the Aven Windmage and an Island. White will discard the Pacifism and a Plains. Green will discard the Ranging Raptors, a Forest. Then we'll go to the Hydra's turn. They'll cast the topmost card, which is a Ravenous Broodhead. We will take 5 damage each to go down to 22. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a Brute Strength and will discard the Brute Strength. Black draws a Sanitarium Skeleton and will discard a Swamp. Blue draws an Island and will discard the Island. White draws a Plains, will discard the Plains. Green draws a Forest, will discard the Forest. We'll untap. Red draws a Keldon Raider. Black draws a Swamp. Blue draws an Island. White draws a Griffin Protector. Green draws an Overcome. We'll play a Mountain. And red will tap 4 mountains to cast a Keldon Raider. This is a 4/3 human warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do draw a card, we'll discard the Goblin Smuggler and we'll draw an Act of Treason. Black will play a Swamp. We will tap the Swamp to play the Sanitarium Skeleton. And then we'll tap 4 more mana to cast Blood for Bones. It's a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature. We'll discard the Sanitarium Skeleton and return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then return another creature card from your graveyard to your hand. We'll take the Villas, Broker of Blood, and put that on the battlefield. It's an 8/8 legendary demon with flying, and you can pay black and pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn, and whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. Then we'll take the Accursed Horde, and we'll put that in our hand. Blue will play an Island. We'll tap out and play an Air Elemental. This is a 4/4 elemental with flying. White will play a Plains. We'll spend all 5 mana to play Patron of the Valiant. This is a 4/4 angel with flying. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. That's the top and Freeblade. Green will play a Forest. We'll tap out and play the Earthshaker Giant. The Crested Herd Callers are now 6/6s. We'll tap the Warrior to give each new creature haste. We'll attack the Ravenous Broodhead with the Howling Golem. We'll attack a Ravenous Broodhead with the Zombie, and we'll send the Undead Servant up against one of the regular Hydra heads. This Howling Golem will finish off the Ravenous Broodhead. We'll kill the other 2 Hydra heads with these Vigilant creatures. We'll defeat all the Hydra heads, getting us 8 life apiece, taking us up to 30 each, and we'll draw 3 cards total, 1 from the Ravenous Broodhead and 2 from the Howling Golems. We'll reveal 8 cards to see if there are any new heads. There's a Ravenous Broodhead. Red will draw a Mountain, a mountain, and a dragon egg. Black will draw a gravedigger, a murder, and a swamp. Blue will draw a engulf the shore, a agent of treachery, and a island. White will draw a mighty leap, a plains, and a plains. Green will draw a crested herd collar, a leafkin druid, and a ferocious pup. We'll go to the discard step. We'll discard down to 7 each. Red will discard a dragon egg and an act of treason. Black will discard rise from the grave and a swamp. Blue will discard the agent of treachery and engulf the shore. White will discard the mighty leap and a plains. Green will discard the overcome and the leafkin druid. We'll go to the Hydra's turn. They'll cast the topmost card, which is Distract the Hydra. Each player may sacrifice a creature. Each player who sacrifices a creature this way chooses the head and taps it. Each player who doesn't sacrifice loses 3 life. We'll choose to lose 3 life and 5 more life on top of that to go down to 22 each. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Red draws a mountain, discards a mountain. Black draws a swamp and discards a swamp. Blue draws an island and discards an island. White draws a Razor Alarm, discards a plains. Green draws a ferocious pup and discards a Thunderherd migration. We'll untap. We'll draw. Red draws a Drakaseth Maw of Flames. Black draws a swamp. Blue draws a Captivating Gyre. White draws a plains. Green draws a forest. Red plays a mountain. Black plays a swamp. Blue plays an island. White plays a plains. Green plays a forest. We'll go to combat. White will attack the remaining Ravenous Broodhead with the 2 vigilant creatures. The Ravenous Broodhead dies. Each player gains 2 life to go up to 24 and will draw a card each. We'll reveal 2 cards to see if there are any new heads. There are no new heads, and so the Game Night 2019 decks defeat the Hydra on hard mode and win the day. Let me know what your thoughts were in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more of these videos, you can hit subscribe. This was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.